this last little bit, I've been, you know, it's been a little challenging with moving back to Canada and having, my career essentially playing a waiting game. Um, Being a teacher, it's currently July, there really isn't a lot of work to be done. And because of that, when you start something new, whether that's a new thing or a new place, and you go into it, and there's always something that drives you, in a particular direction. And when it comes to work at school, whatever school, it isn't there. So a lot of the motivation I had to create for myself, because there isn't anything really currently going on that I'm forced to do. And that got me thinking through some conversations I had today about goal setting. And with goal setting, with having that bar, to climb over, to jump over, something that will, hopefully, make your life better, or have some type of intrinsic quality that makes you feel good. It is interesting how sometimes my mind kind of plays tricks on me on, what the actual purpose of goal setting is. And one of the things that I found when I didn't really have a purpose in my life and nothing really to strive for is it kind of just goes, my mind just goes to the easiest thing. And usually the easiest thing is not the most productive thing, or productive at all. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge. Goal setting is instinctively, you have to do it. You have to set the goal. The goal isn't set for you. And a lot of the times we think about growing up in school, the goal is to get that high mark on the assignment or that presentation, or get into the university, or achieve this, achieve that, right? And those achievements are forced upon us because we're learning, because we're children, or we're students. And I think I've been stuck in kind of a pattern, just like letting other people set goals for me rather than me setting goals myself. Because I've been taught that for the last, for my life. And those goals, like achieving those grades or doing well, job, those things, those goals, has some type of intrinsic reward. Extrinsic reward, not intrinsic, extrinsic reward, where you're getting something, there's something that you're obtaining by achieving that goal, by meeting that goal. And in some respects that's good. Life cannot be, you cannot go through life with just going and doing stuff that doesn't give you any benefit. There has to be some external source. But the problem with that is, what happens if you fail? What happens if you don't succeed? If you don't get to that place? Do you not get anything? Do you fail? And that's the interesting thing. And I think for a lot of people, and some people in my friends circle, I think, in my opinion, with them, kind of broad strokes, so I'm going to point anyone out through my example after, but a lot of the times we achieve something, and then it doesn't feel as good as what we thought it was going to feel like, and then we feel all sad about it. Or we achieve something and there's nothing left afterwards. And I remember when I was training for, let's say, my Spartan race for the half marathon, hill climb, it took me 5 hours and 23 minutes because of like 2K worth of elevation gain. It's crazy. The problem with that is I saw every single year I was training for these things that ended in October with running, it would be great if everyone would come together. There'd be so much activities going on, there'd be so much to do with these people when it comes to training and outside, and then the event happens, it's great. Everyone's feeling great, or in pain, but socially, we feel close. And then once that event is over, you know what happens? Everyone goes away. You don't see them anymore. Because it's getting into winter, and also people don't have the purpose to run anymore, to do that type of stuff. And then it just left a gaping hole. So for me, the training and all that stuff was to push myself, to see what I could do. Awesome. Always great to push yourself. The problem with that is once I completed it and had the space, there was nothing left. I achieved, but so what? And I think for me, when I was coming up, it was kind of that trap of like, okay, you achieve something. Now I feel empty, I gotta achieve something else. And I gotta achieve something else. And keep going. And at the end of it, it's just exhausting because you're just bouncing back and forth with one another. Where you're not really gaining anything. Okay, maybe you're gaining fitness, but at least in my life, I haven't been, in terms of those things, it hasn't been truly fulfilling. And when we are looking at goals, I now really feel like there has to be something that is lasting after you achieve that goal. So for some people, not myself, but for some people, when it comes to work, they want to get to that new promotion. Great, that can be a goal. There has to be a plan for after meeting that, but if you're talking about a steady state, what happens after that, great, okay, you got your job, you got your promotion, you got more money. How are you going to use that, right? And then that's another step, right? So there has to be a plan after the plan, which I think is really interesting. But at the same time, having something where it's just like you're achieving something in the moment. So much like focus, pain, and suffering comes from like setting these goals and then not having anything during the preparation of achieving that goal. So for some people, when it comes to races, they train so much by themselves, they lose out on social outlets and social gatherings and meeting with friends and other things, other aspects of their life that builds them up because they're so focused on that one part of their life, that one goal. Life is all about balance, and when it comes to, different people have different needs, but there has to be some balance when it comes to our goals. It can't be just some athletic goals, it can't be some social goals, it can't be some work goals. It has to be goals all around. There has to be some balance with it, and there has to be something that you're gaining, in the moment. And those things are the hardest because there is a mixture between intrinsic and extrinsic, and there has to be somewhere where you're gaining something in the moment to keep you motivated, to keep you fulfilled, but also something to strive for. I think about goal setting as kind of, treading water. While you're trying to get somewhere, right? If you're swimming, you're trying to go somewhere, you have to keep swimming. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. Even if you're not getting towards closer to your goal, there still has to be some treading of water. Once you stop swimming and treading, once you are goalless, you start to drown. And I know for me that's kind of hard because now it is only me that can set these goals. There's no external source that is forcing me to achieve things. It is all I'm doing, and I need to figure out what it means and how it looks like for me to tread water and swim to my future goals.